Today I'm going to be talking to you guys about writing and correction. So in true TEFL style, the first thing I'm going to get you to do is talk with the person beside you or people beside you about the problems that your students face when they're writing for you. What kind of issues do they face? So I'll give you a couple of minutes to talk with your partner and the person beside you about that. Lots of lively discussions going on there. That's great. We've loads of problems. Brilliant. Let's have a look at some of these. No, okay. There's another problem. Okay. So the first one is a difference in L1 convention and script. This can be a huge problem, especially for lower level learners. If you've got learners, Arabic students, for example, they've got problems with the script, even the direction of writing, capital letters. You've got different writing conventions for Koreans and Japanese learners. They will be used to ordering information different than we order it when we're writing in English. This is a big one. Then accuracy, the knowledge of the lexis and grammar. So this is something we kind of hear every day in class. We hear the gaps in the knowledge of grammar, lexis, vocabulary, the mistakes our learners are making. Then problems with cohesion and coherence. So cohesion, the way the text fits together, the pieces that fit together, the linking words that we use to fit the pieces of the text together, and coherence. Does the text as a whole make sense? Then content. Maybe students just don't have the ideas to write about. They don't have the ideas, or they lack the practice. They just haven't done much writing in their own country. So going through each difficulty, then we'll see if we can get some solutions. So with differences in L1 writing convention and script, especially at lower levels, the big thing here is focus on the positives. So any writing the student does at all, this is a step forward. So we want to focus on the positives to help motivate the student to attempt to write again. Overcorrection can be very disheartening to students. So when we correct something, maybe 2 suggestions for the next attempt is good. We don't want to hand back a page full of corrections. This isn't very motivating. Another thing we can do is conferencing. Conferencing is basically just giving the student one-to-one attention, so we can work with the student while they're writing, maybe elicit ideas they can put in or elicit mistakes that they're making and help them that way. We can also get to see more closely how that student is doing it when they're writing. With accuracy, this is all about the support we give the student. So, I got my fake news thing in as well. So, with accuracy, it's all about the support we give the student. So, if we're writing, we can focus on recent and current grammar. So those of you who are teaching IELTS, maybe if we're doing a task 1 on process, we can focus on passive structures and have the learners peer correct or self-correct, focusing on that. We can build a list of frequent mistakes for different writing tasks. So if we're looking at formal writing, maybe cover letters, we can ask the students to focus on contractions. Are they using contractions when they shouldn't be? And then if we're seeing similar mistakes with a group of students, we can plan a lesson just to focus on these mistakes before their next attempt to write. With cohesion and coherence, the big thing here is scaffolding. We help the learners know what ideas they can put into their writing and where to put those ideas. So if the learner knows that they have contrasting ideas, this will also help them with cohesion. They'll know to use linking words that are appropriate. Then we can use drafting, so we can let the learners know that the first time they write something, it isn't important that it's perfect. Maybe the first time they're focusing on global coherence, and they can later look at lower priority issues like spelling or maybe some grammar mistakes. And then after that, the learners can look back at their writing and maybe look for those other mistakes such as spelling and grammar. Students need to know that it's a cyclical process, that when we're writing we're always revising what we're doing and looking to improve for the next attempt. Then the final difficulty we talked about was content, lack of practice in L1. The key here is exposure to quality writing. Learners must know what successful writing is. How can we do this? We can use model answers, we can use ordering activities. This can also help with coherence. So learners can see how a text should fit together, what the flow of a text should look like. Any tasks that highlight features of a genre, this could be true or false questions that highlight certain parts of the layout. And then we have reading homework and summarizing tasks. So I've noticed this especially with my Arabic students. Sometimes their reading level is a lot lower than their speaking level, and this can come true in their writing. So I think it's very important to encourage them to read as often as possible. And summarizing tasks encourage them to not only read, but think about the ideas, so they have some ideas for when they're writing about similar topics. So in keeping with the theme, I'm going to give you a limited amount of suggestions from this talk. So the first one is lots of exposure to quality writing with tasks that help learners notice its features. Then scaffold tasks. So students aren't expected to do too much too soon, so we can build things nicely for them from the planning stage right through to revising. And then something that I find very useful, we use in our school, is use of a correction code. So instead of just giving a student back a piece of writing and saying, well, these were the mistakes and this is how you fix them, you get the student to engage with where the mistakes are, so this can better help them the next time that they're writing. I think I did that really quickly. That's the end of that.